Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're looking at the new cards for the next expansion in Hearthstone called the Boomsday project. So to look at them, you click on my collection, you click over here to go into crafting mode, and you click over here to include uncrafted cards. Then you click over here to filter down to the standard set that's coming, Boomsday. So last time we looked at the Shaman deck, and much like the Rogue and the Priest deck, it feels like it's small incremental additions and not great massive changes to the types of decks you could play or the types of cards that are available to you. Today we're going to be looking at the Warlock deck. I would say that the Warlock deck is probably one of the worst character classes to play. So if they could make it one of the best, that would be amazing. Theoretically, the Warlock is good because you can draw cards faster and play more cards, but it requires a very delicate and careful way of playing so that you don't constantly reduce your health to the point where you die. And for the most part, when I play Warlock, I do end up helping my opponent more than hurting them, just by drawing more cards and hurting myself. First card we have for the new expansion is a 1-mana spell called Infusion. Give the leftmost minion in your hand +2/+2. That is an interesting idea because we've seen a card that said if you play the rightmost card, you can draw a new card. Which, when you draw cards, the new card you drew would have become the new rightmost card. So theoretically, if you're willing to just play whatever you draw with that card, you could keep on drawing. Here, it's saying give the card that's to the left +2/+2, which is your oldest card, the card that has been in your hand for the longest amount of time. That's an interesting idea. There's no mechanic for moving cards in your hand or anything like that. This is one of the few benefits that is obvious about collectible card games, besides some basic things like your cards never get scratched or stolen, and unless your account gets stolen. But still, this is an interesting idea. Most of the Warlock cards are demon cards that damage you when they're summoned or do something else crazy. So we'll keep an eye out to see how many of these new cards are actually demon cards. Next we have a 1-mana legendary spell called the Solarium. Draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, discard them. Now there is a legendary card that will, I believe, gain attack for every card discarded in the game up until that point. And it has in the past felt like you could make an awesome discard deck, but I've never been able to get that card because it's a legendary and I just don't have it. And without that one linchpin of a card, something like this doesn't make sense. There are some other cards that will have you draw cards every time you discard a card, so you could draw 3 cards and then discard, draw more cards at the end of your turn. So theoretically you could draw as many as 6 cards for free. It's kind of questionable why this is even a legendary. It seems like you could probably do it twice and still not really accomplish much. We'll have to see what other cards are available that makes that make more sense. Next we have a 2-mana spell called Demonic Project. Each player transforms a random minion in their hand into a demon. For Warlock, I don't see how this really helps anything. So this almost certainly seems like a dud card. I don't see any reason why you'd have this in your deck if you could play anything better. Because it's random and it helps both players equally, and it just wastes 2 of your mana. Next we have a 2-mana spell called Spirit Bomb. Deal 4 damage to a minion and your hero. This is a typical Warlock card. You have to hurt yourself to hurt somebody else. Not terrible, because it does do 4 damage to a minion, but not great because it's also doing 4 damage to you. Generally speaking, a lot of cards like this just push people, and me in particular, to just not play the Warlock. If you could play a different class and have a better experience. Next, we have a 2 mana, 2 attack, 2 health minion that's the demon class, which is specific to, I think, Warlock. I don't think there are any demons in the neutral class, but maybe there are a couple. But I doubt there's any cards that synergize with demons in any of the other classes. It's called the Void Analyst. It has a death rattle to give all demons in your hand +1/+1. We've seen some of the previous character classes have a emphasis on death rattle cards, to the point if you're playing wild and you have Baron Rivendell, you could duplicate death rattles, and in this case you'd give all the demons in your hand +2/+2. It's still probably not as good as an equivalent paladin card. I'm pretty sure you can find a paladin card that would give all minions in your hand, not just demons +1/+1. Generally speaking though, I guess if you just need to play demons, this is a pretty good demon to play. There is some weirdness, if I can go on a tangent though, with the way demons are depicted in Hearthstone, because for the most part they're depicted as imps and very non-humanoid characters. So the fact that this is a female demon, this might very well be the first female humanoid demon. Well, there is the succubus character, but yeah, I guess that already existed. But usually speaking, you're looking at imps like this, or Draxus. Next we have a 3 mana, 2 attack, 2 health demon called the Doubling Imp. Battlecry, summon a copy of this minion, which for 3 mana that you're effectively getting 2 2/2s. Not terrible. Actually, it's a pretty good card because it's just not hurting you when you're playing it. So for 3 mana you get 2 of them and you don't take any damage, and for that alone I like that card more than most Warlock cards. Next we have a 3 mana, 1 attack, 5 health demon called the Nether Soul Buster. Battlecry, gain +1 attack for each damage your hero has taken this turn. Even in this case, I don't think you're going to get much of an improvement. Like, if you played this on the 10th turn and you managed to do, let's say, even 11 attack damage to yourself, it's still not a 1-turn kill. I believe there's a card in Wild that will double your battle cries, but I don't think it's in Standard, so this would be a card that would definitely work better if the battle cry happened twice and you could get it to a say 11/5. Next we have, I believe, our 3rd Omega character, a 5 mana, 4 attack, 5 health minion called Omega Agent. If you have 10 mana crystals, summon 2 copies of this minion. That's kind of a letdown for what it is. Like, the other 2 Omega characters seemed like they did a little bit more than just summoning 2 copies of them. So theoretically on your 10th turn you play this and you then have 2 4/5s. It is an epic, so theoretically you could have 2 of these. So on your 10th turn you play this twice and you have 4 4/5s. I guess that kind of is a good board filler, but it sure isn't an interesting way to play. There's really nothing interesting there. Next, we have a 6-mana spell called Ectomansi. Summon copies of all the demons you control, which you can only have 7 minions, so at best you're summoning copies of 3 minions onto the field, and they're going to be summoning copies of 3 demons. That's not really that good. And then we have an 8-mana, 5 attack, 5 health legendary minion called Dr. Morgan that swaps this with a minion from your deck when it dies. And I suppose if you could get 2 of these in your deck, and they were the only 2 minions in your deck, then they would constantly be swapping back and forth, but that's highly unlikely to happen, and not really that useful even then. So let's switch over to the wild cards, and like, I don't even know what cards would really synergize with this. You've got the hero replacement, Blood Reaver Gul'dan. Summon all the friendly demons that died this game. You've got Mal'Ganis. Your hero is immune and your demons have +2/+2 in wild. You have destroy your hero and replace him with Lord Jaraxxus. Let's see, if your deck has no duplicates, summon all the demons from your hand. Yeah, you could play a wild demon deck, but a lot of these don't make sense. This Rin, the First Disciple card takes forever to play, and it's not really worth it. Add a random demon to your hand. Let's see. I'm trying to find the card that would work with a discard deck. Let's see. This card's pretty good. Let's see. You can lower the cost of demons. You can play Fell Cannon, but there's really no mech cards in this new expansion to work with Fell Cannon and Wild. They changed how Dreadsteed works, but it's still a pretty good card. Destroy all minions, discard your hand. That doesn't synergize with anything. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not even seeing in the wild set, so any kind of synergy, so playing in the regular set. He is probably the best card you can play if you don't have very many Warlock cards that you like, is just have 2 Renounced Darknesses in your deck. Replace the rest of the deck with Warlock class cards if you can, and then play this and just get a random new deck with a random new character. So whenever a card is discarded, gain +1/+1. Tiny Knight of Evil. Wild only. I know that there's another card out there. So yes, here's the Mistress of Pain, Succubus Demon, and how she's depicted. Here's Gnome Feratu, half gnome, half vampire. Honestly, I kind of feel like Hearthstone's art styles kind of are all over the place, and they're a little inconsistent. So you could discard this, give it +2/+2, and return it to your hand. If you have 6 other minions, destroy a friendly minion. I'm pretty sure that there's another card out there that I'm missing. Whenever you discard a card, draw a card. That's wild too. So you really can't play a discard deck in standard. So yeah, I'm left with rather questioning if these new cards add anything. Let's see, the quest is discard 6 cards and you get the Nether Portal, which I believe summons some minion demons for you. I don't think it's particularly that good. But playing standard with the new cards still feels like you'd, for the most part, not be doing too well. And I started this, has +1 attack, here's the one I was thinking about, for each card you've discarded this game. So yeah, again, a discard deck card that really only works if you're playing wild. I started this recording saying that I felt like Warlock was one of the weakest ones, and it still feels like it's one of the weakest ones. It doesn't feel like these 10 cards in Boomsday really even take a small step towards improving gameplay as a Warlock. And this is an interesting idea, but it's only introduced just willy-nilly. It doesn't work with anything else. And like, this seems like the only strategy here would be to play demons, and you've got some more demons to play, and maybe play the Omega character. Yeah. Well, that's a Warlock. There's really nothing more to say there. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, friend me on Steam and gift me a game or a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.